This will define everything. Well, the Mets are 5-5 in their last 10 games and continue to play up and down baseball, to say the least. Top of this week, the Phillies are in town for 3 at Citi Field, and how the Mets perform will tell us a ton. I'm Adam Choit, your host for today here on Mets Digest, and before we dig in on all that, I just want to give you guys a quick heads up, a quick reminder to please subscribe, because as you can see, nearly 68% of you guys watching these videos are not subscribed, so please take a quick second to do that. It is definitely appreciated for sure. Let's get into the meat of this video. The Mets have a big series, a huge series, a gigantic series coming up against the Phillies this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The Phillies are in town. Let's dive into all things related to the Mets and where they are in the standings, where they are in the wild card, where they are in the NL East standings, and all of that. Here, as you can see, is the wild card standing, and the Mets currently sit a game and a half ahead of the Reds. The Reds have a difficult schedule coming down the stretch, as do the Mets. We'll get into all that momentarily, but at least the Mets are holding on to that spot for now, with the Reds on their tail. The Diamondbacks, Cardinals, Giants, Marlins are not really in it at the moment. Here's the NL East. Sad to report the Mets are currently 7 games out. It's getting dark. We're getting dark in the dog days of August, certainly in terms of the chances of the Mets winning the division. As you can see, 7 games back is quite a lot. The Mets have been known to, back in my day, or at least back earlier this century, they have been known to blow leads of 7 games or more late in the season. So perhaps they can do the same and turn it on its head, turn things on their head, and catch up to the Phillies late in the year, and maybe we get a Phillies collapse this year. But the Mets certainly have a ton of work to do if they are going to win the division. Here's where we are currently in the wild card standings, as I showed before, with just 32 games to go. We're getting down. Are we still in the dog days? Is this considered the dog days? Once you pass August 20th, I think the dog days are over. I think the dog days are really the first 2/3 of August. That would be my personal opinion on that. Here, as you can see, also from SNY is the Mets' upcoming schedule, which is one of the most difficult in the league, with games against the Phillies, the Tigers, the Reds right on their tail, the Phillies again. That next series is 4 in Philadelphia coming up. Texas, San Diego, the Cubs. It's not going to be easy, and of course the Marlins always seem to play head and shoulders above what they normally do. When the Mets are in town, or when the Marlins are at Citi Field, the Marlins are always seem to be a thorn in the Mets' side. The division is a long shot at this point, but if the Mets have any hopes of finishing the season in first, they pretty much have to sweep the Phillies in a 3-game series that begins tonight. That's from Amazing Avenue. That is pretty much right on the money right there. Let's dig into a little bit more about this upcoming series, and I want to give it to you guys from the Phillies' perspective, because I pulled up a piece from right here. You'll see from NBC Sports Philadelphia, Bob Cooney, sort of an interesting perspective on things, and gives us a sense of where the Mets and Phillies stand right now. The optimistic Phillies fan will look at this upcoming 3-game series with the New York Mets at Citi Field and see that the lead in the National League East could grow to as much as 10 games over the Mets with a sweep. The pessimist, of course, will point out that a sweep by the Mets would knock the difference between the two to just 4 games with 29 to play. So, really a sweep will pretty much determine the winner of the division. Well, if the Phillies sweep, the Mets are done. They would be cooked at that point in terms of division. That would be it would be done. But if the Mets sweep, they're right back in it and would have all the momentum in the world. Even I remember back in 2015, the Mets had some big games against the Nationals in August, and some big games. Just in August, the Mets really started to turn things around that season and go on a huge winning streak. So those games in August can really swing momentum too, heading into September. If the Mets are able to play well this week and, win 2 of 3, maybe sweep versus the Phillies, I think that can definitely be a carryover into the 4-game series later on this year versus the Phillies, especially with Zach Wheeler out. That's going to be a hurdle for the Phillies to get over. They're playing well lately, but that will be something that's definitely something mentally for the team to overcome. And in terms of their talent as well, Zach Wheeler's pretty much been the best pitcher in baseball in the 2020s, the best starting pitcher, pretty much. Here's more from Bob Cooney, giving us a little bit about the state of the Phillies. The Phillies have won 7 of their last 9 games and have been playing some of their best baseball of the season over the last few weeks, but this is the Mets, and this may be a series that defines how the East is going to play out. The Mets have won 4 of the 6 games between the two teams this season, including all 3 at Citi Field. After this series, they'll have 4 more matchups at Citizens Bank Park in September, which I just mentioned, of course. This is from Logan Van Dyne of SI.com. As the Mets open up a crucial 3-game series at Citi Field against the Philadelphia Phillies, Monday's starter Kodai Senga will do something he has not done all season, pitching on 4 days regular rest. Since returning from the IL over a month ago, Senga has been ineffective and caused some worries for the Mets. That is definitely a concern. The Mets, as I'll dive into momentarily, did have some options in terms of calling up another young starter from the minors, be it Sproat or be it Jonah Tong, but they are deciding to stick with Senga despite his struggles, and not only that, pushing him to start tonight on only 4 days rest, and he has not been pitching well since returning from the IL. As you can see here, in his 7 starts since returning from the IL, the 32-year-old is 0-2 with a 5.23 ERA and 29 strikeouts while walking an alarming 19 batters in just 31 innings. Senga has also not gone a full 6 innings in any of these starts, but with the Mets opening their 3-game series against the Phillies on Monday, instead of opting to call up one of their top pitching prospects, the Amazons will be rolling with Senga despite his struggles. So that's almost the number one thing to look out for tonight, is how Senga reacts to not pitching well, if he's able to bounce back from that, but also keeping an eye on his workload and his stamina and his body and his health and all of that, just pitching on 4 days rest. So that's definitely something to look out for tonight. I will be watching closely how Senga pitches. Here's you can see one of the options that the Mets could consider bringing up. The Mets need to change their conservative approach to promoting minor league pitchers as they make their playoff push, says SNY's John Harper. This is from SNY's Twitter X account. He could be the type of lightning in a bottle guy. That's a former GM on Jonah Tong, as you can see the photo of him right here. He has been pitching very, very well since his promotion to AAA, and we'll just have to watch for the next few weeks, or maybe even sooner, if he gets the promotion. I would love to see it. It really does seem Nolan McLean has given the team not only a boost in terms of performance, but also an emotional lift. And they've been talking about on the broadcast. So since McLean went deep into his last couple of starts, it seems to be inspiring the rest of the stars a little bit more, pushing them to get a little deeper into their starts as well. A little push, a little friendly competition, little emotional lift. Never hurt anyone, and it has not hurt the Mets rotation, at least in the early going with the small sample size, with McLean being on the team. Here's the lineup for tonight. Got Lindor, Soto, Marte, Alonso, Vientos, Nimmo, Taylor, McNeil, Torrens, and of course Senga on the mound tonight. Looking to see what Vientos does tonight. Hopefully continuing his hot hitting. I'm looking at his OPS right around 700. I wonder what I'm thinking about what his ceiling could be in terms of, like, if he finishes really hot, he can get to maybe 20 home runs. He can get to maybe a 740, 750 OPS if he continues to be raging hot. I have not done the math on that. You guys could comment below and let me know in terms of what is a realistic OPS Vientos could finish the season with if he does continue to be hot down the stretch for the team. Here you see it right here in statistical note. This is from SNY. Mark Vientos is slashing .357, .387, .964 with 5 homers, 2 doubles, and 11 RBI in 31 plate appearances over his last 7 games. Lindor has been on fire during his current 12-game hitting streak, hitting .471, .534, .804. That's his slash line with 4 homers and 5 doubles in 58 plate appearances. And Cedric Mullins, too, has picked things up in a big way after struggling at the plate during his first week as a Met. In 14 games since August 9th, Mullins is slashing .306, .375, and .490 with a homer, triple, and 4 doubles. So that is certainly good to see. A couple of roster notes right here. Reed Garrett has been placed on the 15-day IL. Jose Castillo, the left-handed pitcher, has been recalled. And Frankie Montas has been sent to the 60-day IL. But what do you guys think? Can the Mets pull a sweep out of their behinds Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week and jump right back into the NL East? There's been a lot of negativity surrounding the team and the fan base, online, offline, and really since June 13th, since they've been in a deep slump, so to speak, for sure. But if they are able to pull out 3 this week, they would be right back in it. What do you think? Can it happen? Will it happen? Can the Mets jump back into it? Comment below. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, and let's go Mets.